LightroomTutorials.com. Easy to follow, easy to learn, designed to inspire.
Hey everyone, my name is Matthew Schonnell and welcome to this tutorial from LightroomTutorials.com. And in today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to create a matted look very much like this on my screen here. A matted look in Lightroom is not hard to get. It's actually quite easy and you can do it very, very quickly. And I'm going to show you and walk you through the process of sort of what to think, what to look for, and sort of how to do it relatively quickly. So in this picture here, you see a picture of from a wedding I shot, a bunch of groomsmen. They were just an absolute blast, a lot of fun, and this is a great look for a matted look. Now, a matted look by definition is the idea of a dull or flat look. So a typical concept is that they're not vibrant and bright. There's not a lot of color a lot of times, or there could be color, but they're much more flat. So the blacks are flat. The highlights are a bit dull, and that's sort of the concept of a matted look. And you can do that really easily in Lightroom. So I'm going to start and basically take this first image here and just start from scratch. So this was the image raw at a camera. So we notice that conceptually, if you look at the starting point, the brightness, it's relatively well exposed, meaning it's not starting out dark or it's not starting out bright. It's actually starting out relatively well exposed. It's a bit dark, but we can absolutely work with that. Now, the first step you want to do is play with the concept of the blacks. So in a matted photo, let's say we're doing a black and white. Well, a matted black and white photo, the blacks are not very rich, meaning they're very dull. So we're not even going to touch the basics panel at all. We're going to go straight to the tone curve here, just below. Now, typically you'll see the tone curve on the right-hand side look like this. You'll see these highlights, lights, darks, and shadows, and if you pull down the shadows, they get darker. You go to the right side, they get shallower or they get brighter. At the end of the day, you can definitely play with your highlights and your shadows and your darks there. But what's happening is this line represents every tone that you have the ability to work with inside your photo. And if we want to do a matted look or a dull black look in our black and white photo, we need to limit how dark the blacks can get. So in order to do that, what you're going to do is on the right hand side, you're actually going to click this little square tab right here. Really close to point curve, it says linear. Right beside it is this little square. You're going to click that and it automatically goes to a line where it only has one single line with no other options. And if you notice here, if I use my cursor, my mouse, I get a little plus symbol. And on the very bottom left-hand side, if I click this or hover over this little dot, I get this up and down symbol. If I click and move up, if you notice, what's happening is it's making my image more flat. Because what we're doing is we're limiting how dark the blacks can actually get in our photo. So with a matted look, you want to go in your tone curve and limit how dark your blacks can get. Now, you can also go to the left-hand side and click the highlight section and pull it down, and it will flatten down the highlights. So if I double click the word point curve, it's going to reset it. So essentially, this little box represents on the left-hand side your black, on the center, your mid-tones, your general tones, and on the far right represents your highlights. And the tone curve, what you're doing is basically by clicking this little tab and pulling it up, you're limiting how dark the blacks can get. And the exact opposite on the highlight side, if you click and drag down, you're limiting how bright the highlights can get. So that's our line. It's a very straight line, but it's very basic. The original line was more on a 45-degree angle. We're actually changing it, so we're actually reducing the blacks and reducing the highlights totally across the whole image. Now we can also click the center of this line, click, and you get a little dot. If you grab that and pull it down, it darkens the image as a whole. And already we have a matted look. We have a matted photo. Now it's not a black and white, but if you look at the before and after, if I go before and after here, this was on the left-hand side was the original image. On the right-hand side is a matted look. Now, it doesn't look that good yet, but it's the starting point for getting a matted look in Lightroom. So essentially, the next step is then easy, super easy. All you've done is adjusted 2 points or 3 points on your tone curve. You haven't done anything with color yet. And if you go on the top right-hand side to your black and white tab on the basic panel, if you click that, it goes black and white. Now you've got a black and white photo that is a matted look that a lot of people go for. They strive for this look, but it just shows you how simply and easily you can get a matted look in Lightroom. Now, there are many other things you can do. I would consider this being a starting point every single time, meaning adjusting your tone curve to allow you to limit how dark the blacks can get and how bright the whites can get. Then beyond that, the sky is the limit. So if I wanted to, I can add a bit of clarity, hit auto adjustment on my tone panel here, love it. And let's say I want to play with my split toning a little bit. I can adjust my, let's say, bit of a sepia look now. You see it changes. I have a different sepia look. If I go down to my shadows, I can do the same thing for my shadows and play with that option. Let's say even like this. Now I get this unique blue look. So what you're seeing is that in a few clicks, you can do almost anything in almost any look in Lightroom. There are many different options. And let's just say I want to turn that off. It goes back to a black and white and we're good to go. So that's the quickest and easiest way to start and get a baseline for a matted look in Lightroom. Go to the tone curve, click your point curve here so you create your own points. Reduce your blacks by creating a point and pulling it up, and then reduce your highlights by creating a point and pulling it down. That's the easiest and the quickest way to get a matted look. Now, another way to do it is to just use a preset that someone else has for you. So for example, in the presets pack, as you know, with freelighttutorials.com, I've got a ton of free presets, and it's just things for you guys to use. So essentially, all these presets will be coming out. Some of them are out right now, all of them are not out yet, but essentially, if you create presets, all they are just a memory of different settings you've chosen. So this is really close to the preset we just played with. The idea that if you notice on the right hand side on the tone curve, this is essentially the same line that we work with. This represents the blacks, which is reducing the blacks, and this represents the highlights, which we've pulled down and reduced. And that's the baseline for everything. Beyond that, all of these other adjustments just allow you to play with your photo and make other adjustments within it. At the end of the day, it's really up to you what you want to do, and hopefully you've learned a couple things and been inspired to create some unique looks with your photos. So at the end of the day, a matted look is very easy to get, takes a couple clicks, and really you're off to the races, and hopefully we'll learn some new things, and I would love to see your pictures. If you get a chance, go on the website, review our actual presets, and let me know if you want any specific tutorials to see. Thanks again. My name is Matthew Shonimal. This is from freelighttutorials.com. This is how to create a matted look in Lightroom.
freelighttutorials.com. Easy to follow, easy to learn, designed to inspire.